Why don't you do it? Forget QLA, forget Dan Peña, forget the seminar. How many have played sports on some kind of level, either high school, university? In baseball, this is way before my time even, there was a guy named Ted Williams, who was the last guy who ever batted over 400 in professional sports for a season. Considered by some the greatest hitter of all time. If I was going to play baseball, which I didn't, I would have modeled him. There's footballers, international footballers, Pele, Maradona, a bunch of guys like that, Messi in the current crop. And the kids buy their jerseys, buy their numbers, wear all their shit, right?
And the adults.
And for sure, and the adults. So we have history of following people in athletics that are successful in dressing like them, putting their numbers on, and I'm sure some of the kids like to fancy themselves. They drive the ball down towards the net like Messi does or whoever. So the things that we've learned so far in 3 full days and a night are not unheard of, but they're normally associated with athletics. There's very few people that want to be a nerd like Bill Gates was when he was going to school. There's very few people that want to be a nerd like Zuckerberg was, and some say still is. There's very few people that want to be like Steve Ballmer, who we're going to talk about. But probably the most difficult thing for high-performance people like myself to understand is that what is it that the kids, the youths in the world can't make the leap from the athletic metaphors. You like to go to, well, hopefully you don't, but a lot of people like to go to sports bars, when they have a lot of screens and different matches and different athletics. Sally and I went by accident to a sports bar a couple years ago, and Sally said, God, there's 40, 50 screens. We got into town, and we couldn't get a reservation at any place, as Sally would say, that was decent. So we went to this gigantic place, and there must have been 40 or 50 TV screens, some really, really huge. And they were showing stuff from the 80s, the 90s, sporting events, famous things that happened. And she said, why are all these people in here? Sally asked me. Because they're living vicariously, very much like your parents are trying to live vicariously through you. They're loser children. But you can't make the leap. Especially, it's easier to be a high-performance person financially than it is athletically. There are fewer high-performance athletes in the world than there are high-performance people that have created money. Far fewer. There's fewer gold medal Olympians than there are billionaires. Why?
It's harder.
Pardon?
It's harder.
Well, not just because, but nobody, where a guy from the ghetto or the barrio like myself, and I didn't get out of the barrio because of my athletic prowess, that's for sure. But if I'm a prize fighter or if I'm a footballer, I can get out of the shits. Now, for example, most of the British footballers speak poorly. I won't say they're illiterate because that's an exaggeration, but they speak poorly. They don't speak the Queen's English. Now, I don't know how the Germans speak. I don't know how the Portuguese guys speak. I don't know how they speak, but I have a feeling they don't speak much better their language than the English guys speak, because they had some athletic prowess. They were found or discovered. And speaking of discover, I'm going to talk about this. Show business my fucking life. It's going to happen. 4.5 fucking years. $650,000 of my own fucking money. But I didn't give up. But we'll get back to that later. Show business is my motherfucking life. But somebody discovered him, and even of the ones that are discovered, only a very small fraction make it athletically. Affirmations have been used, goals and affirmations have been used for athletes since the first Olympiad, 2,000 years ago. But nobody, or hardly anybody, does it for their own personal satisfaction and create wealth. Part of the reason is that chart that we looked at yesterday, money is dirty, money is this, money is that, you've been told. Somebody corrected me yesterday by when I said money is the root of all evil, and what is it? The love of money. The love of money is the root of all evil, not money is the root of all evil. Where I came from, money was the root of all evil, not the love of it, anyway. But I mean, success leaves clues. For those of you that have tried to play golf, and golf is a difficult sport. Some people don't consider it a sport, but it's a difficult sport, not because people are pounding on you, but it's a mental game. It's a mental game. In fact, golf is probably the closest sport to what we do of any athletic endeavor, because it's a mental game. And QLA and the creation of generational wealth is a mental game. The name of this seminar should be The Psychology of the High Performer. But there's already a seminar called that from 40 years ago, so that's why I didn't use it, by Dr. Dennis Waitley. But success leaves clues. Now, last night you saw Big Steve, right? At Oxford. And I'm told, and although I don't know him personally, and he likes to use four-letter words, but he cleaned up his act because he knew forevermore that was going to be on YouTube and it was going to be filmed. What is your takeaway, other than nobody in this room is anything like him?
Very outspoken.
Just like you. I mean, a real fucking grinder, just like you. Not. Fucking weenie.
He has unbelievable energy. Like he's like a kid. He has a great amount of energy. He's like a kid, and like gets really excited about things. Has great enthusiasm.
I mean, enthusiasm will get you a long, long way. I mean, this is one example. It's got me through a lot of problems. It's got me over a lot of those speed bumps that you're going to consider Mount Everest or the Grand Canyon. He's an enthusiastic. He's a salesman. I'm a salesman. But see, being a salesman, your mother or father would rather have you a doctor, a medical doctor, than a salesman. Because salesmen are low on the food chain. Not low on the food chain for making revenue and creating wealth for themselves, but low on the food chain in society. Well, shit, you might as well sell used cars. Now, there are worse salesmen than used car salesmen. What else about Steve?
I found he actually seemed quite nervous at the start of his talk.
He was. I think he was.
And then he also mentioned that he was actually very shy as a kid. And then he started being the manager of the sports team. And in doing that, he actually learned how to take leadership and get people to respond well to him and so on. So he wasn't born naturally.
He was manager of the team because he wasn't good enough to be on the team.
Well, probably that too. Yeah. But he wasn't a natural leader. He wasn't naturally outgoing. But he managed to overcome it in practice.
What else? Yeah.
It's very important to learn how to recruit the best and the brightest for the team.
And for really smart, and he's a smart guy. I don't know if he's as smart as Bill Gates. It doesn't really matter. But to have highly intelligent, well, I would rather have enthusiastic and motivated people around me than intelligent people. Because it's difficult to create enthusiasm. That's hard. From nothing, from a startup, okay? But when they say that you don't want to be the smartest one in the room, well, I would rather have you have a room full of enthusiastic people with a lot of high energy. again, most of you will find out in the next 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 weeks what I'm talking about when your energy levels go down. And I'm not recommending this. Is not what I don't have to use 3 alarm clocks to wake up. I don't need 1 alarm clock. If I want to wake up at 6:05, I wake up at 6:05.
It's an internal clock.
Correct.
It's an internal.
When Edward, my valet butler, comes in to wake me up at 7:30, I'm already awake 2 minutes before he knocks on my door to lay out my clothes. Whether I went to bed at 5:05 or 9:05, I get up at 7:27 for this seminar. My body just tells it, it's time to get up. What else about Steve?
He talks about the importance of a great idea and always question your idea. How to make it better? Is there a better one? So you got to question it.
Now, all the ideas that you're going to come up with, other than the initial idea of whatever industry you go into, and as I said yesterday, all the things that we've talked about, because you have the processes, the systems, the procedures, you have the templates, the things that brought QLA here after almost 26 years, and the fact that I was using QLA, although I didn't call it QLA, for 20 years before that, you don't have to spend the time researching, Googling. The only thing you have to do is sign up for LinkedIn and the premier one, whatever it is, and start. Once you've decided on an industry, we show you how to write the executive summaries. We show you how to put all this together. And the people that come out from the starting blocks like jackrabbits, and some of you, as I've already mentioned, will come out like sloths, turtles, but it's who gets across the goal line first. And it's quite remarkable. And you'll see it on the Zoom calls. Steve is in the 2% of the high-performance people that is an alpha male. There's very few alpha males out there that are doing this. I say 2%, it's really not even 2%. But 98% of all the people have the same characteristics that most people in this room. Introvert, low self-esteem, lack of self-confidence. And over time, they build their self-confidence, they build their self-esteem through success, one success at a time. One success at a time. And then the success formula that you develop for yourself, whatever that is, because everybody's going to be different in the room, you'll tweak and you'll make it better and better and better. Your presentation skills will get better and better and better. The greatest increase in your presentation skills will come at the beginning because you're coming more or less from ground zero. Some of you are involved in sales, okay? And so you have a slight edge because you're in sales, because this is selling. When I tell people I'm a salesman that has just taken his sales skills to I sell governments, okay? I used to sell pots and pans door to door, now I sell governments. But it's the same sales skills. And it's enthusiasm. Peter was saying yesterday that he had to be enthusiastic. And even when his first deals failed, they still had to be enthusiastic. The third, fourth, or fifth person that you give a presentation to, you're not going to tell them, well, I'm a little down today, and I don't really feel up to it, but I'm here. A few months ago, I had a fever of 104.5, and I gave the whole seminar. Nobody noticed that my suits were wet because I was perspiring, okay? And I just gave the seminar. Alistair Cook, the famous BBC presenter, told me, I don't know, 30 years ago, before he's passed away now, he said, being a professional, being a high-performance professional is doing your job even when you don't feel like it and doing it well. We have people now, they don't come to work because they had diarrhea. We have people now that don't go to work because they had a headache.
Dial in.
Yeah. It's inconceivable to me. If you think that just because you have the QLA material under your arm or in your hand, and and it's going to make the difference. The only thing that's going to really make a difference is you, as an individual, pushing it every single day as hard as you can. And not pushing it hard as you learn it, pushing it hard from the day one. From the day one, just as Captain America did his 2 deals in 117 days while he was doing this part-time while he was in active duty military. Full-time, hard as you can from the very beginning. Anything else about Steve?
Care what you are doing and be accountable in.
Steve and Bill used to exchange their diaries, their calendars, every 2 weeks. And Steve would say, Bill, you don't need this meeting, you don't need these meetings. And Bill would say, Steve, you don't need these meetings. And they would cross out meetings in each other's diaries. And I already told you, and I don't know if Mr. Gates still does it, but he used to keep track of his meetings and his scheduling in 6-minute increments. 6-minute increments. Remember, time you can never get back. Money you can, not always, but you can make it back. And your time management, the first week that you adhere to the weekly report system, you'll be underwhelmed. 1, how much time you waste. 2, how little you get accomplished. And 3, that the clock's ticking, and as the clock ticks, I mean, my recommendation is that you keep track of your activities on a daily basis. So when it comes to the weekly, because you won't remember what you did 5 days before. You won't remember what you did 7 days before. And some people do daily reports. I don't read the daily reports. Some people send me daily reports. I get weekly and daily reports from people that went to the seminar 15 years ago. I get reports from people that went to the seminar 20 years ago. Default's a bitch. Remember, the reports are for you, not for me. Some of the reports I won't comment on. Or I'll say, are you fucking kidding me? And that's all I'll say. And it's up to you to figure out what I mean. Sometimes I think you kids don't read the motherfuckers before you send them to me. Now, I'm forgetting the fact that you can't speak English. Forgetting the fact that you're fucking illiterate. You're as illiterate as a fucking British footballer who thinks that adverbs are nouns. Read the fucking report before you send it to me. Anything else about Steve?
Focus on revenue.
I'm a top-line guy. You can always find a bean counter to cut expenses. But people that produce revenue are golden. And that's why in the big organizations, the revenue producers make a lot of money. It's not unheard of for, the head of sales or marketing to get paid as much as the CEO, if not more than the CEO, based on their bonuses that they get.
I was in Barclays or not?
What?
Barclays had that.
Yeah. Okay, what else did you see last night?
Modern education.
Modern education, or the lack thereof. On the news this morning, somebody's complaining about something every day, but education is or the lack thereof, or the cost of education is really in turmoil now, because the cost of education continues to go up. And in America, almost all the universities get some sort of government grant. Okay, YouTube, goodbye.